All right, hello. Welcome to another episode of the EJB Talk Show. Today I have a wonderful guest, Miss Vivian Kwok, composer and pianist. Formerly went here at U of T, but currently doing her master's in piano performance at UBC. We are going to talk about that. But
Yes.
how are you doing today, Vivian?
I'm doing great. I'm a bit tired still from the flight yesterday because I took a red eye,
Right.
and then so I arrived like at 6:30 a.m. In Toronto, and I'm very sleep deprived. But anyways, I had a great day yesterday's hanging out with friends,
Right.
and today as well. So far so good.
Right, and you're here because of the student composer opera premiere, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I happen to have a great chance to write for the U of T Opera. The U of T Opera has like a student composer initiative every year where they invite student composers here at U of T to write put together a full production. The libretto is written by Michael Albano, and we each take a scene and write music for that scene. So I got the overture and the final scene plus final chorus for this opera.
Right. That's awesome, man. So how has your year been so far since like starting your masters at UBC?
So there's a lot of adjusting going on, obviously, because I have to move to Vancouver. I've never lived in Vancouver.
And you're not even originally from Toronto. So you moved for your undergrad also. So every degree you're just somewhere else, correct?
Yeah, I would say home is Edmonton, Alberta, and then I came to Toronto for my undergrad, and then Vancouver for masters right now. But my master's degree has been great fun so far.
Nice.
I have a great teacher, Corey. He has really pushed me to improve and just get more musical. Great studio, just making great friends in the music school itself, and I had like really good opportunities to play in the large ensembles.
Really?
Yeah, so it has been great fun.
That's awesome. So I want to ask you like the common question on every episode. What would you say would be your earliest musical memory ever?
Musical memory, as in making music or listening, or
Just like yeah, like it could be either. Depends on what it was for you.
so. One of the most vivid memories is that our family has bought a lot of CDs. So,
Okay.
because my mom firmly believes that letting us listen to music when we're little just helps us develop, and there's like tons of study and research made on this, right?
And she's not a musician herself.
She plays the piano,
Okay.
but not professionally. She's
Right.
amateur.
So she's just like into it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And my parents do worship at church, so they
Right.
would lead the praise team, but that's about it. So
Yeah.
they don't perform or anything.
But I would say that's like a more musical activity than like most average, like more
Perhaps.
casual players, I'd say. So that's so like
Perhaps.
music is a big part to them still.
Yeah, so they don't know any of the composers. Like
Right.
they would know like, oh, Beethoven wrote da 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 da.
But they're just like making music kind of thing.
Yeah, so but they would always play the CDs in the background, and I guess one of my first attempt to know more about classical music was to find that collection of CDs at home.
Or you're just like rummaging the house, all
Yeah,
curious.
yeah, yeah. I was curious, and I found the CD of Tchaikovsky's music,
Right.
and then I was like, "Who's this?" Yeah, Tchaikovsky was like the first one out of the stack.
So wait, they didn't know the composers, but they just like had a bunch of classical CDs.
Yes, because my mom was a high school teacher, so it's like a
Okay.
huge like book fair sale thing.
Oh.
I think, yeah, it was like huge sale, and then she just bought the entire like 20 CD set with
Nice.
like educational leaflets in them that talks about who the composer was and like what did they do in their lives. So I over the years I read through all 20 of them.
Right.
So going into like throughout elementary school, I would know more and more about each composer, and like I would get to know like Saint-Saëns, and of course like Mozart, Beethoven, Bach. Loved Tchaikovsky because the Nutcracker Suite was on the CD. So like
That just has a bit-
I love the
That has
march.
that like sentimental memory to you.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the Nutcracker. um, yeah, Chopin. I remember that I didn't really like Debussy because I was bored as a child. I was bored. They had La Mer on it, and I was bored. But yeah, that was
How old would you say that you were when this was
when
happening?
when the earliest that I can remember, I was around 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I remembered very vividly because we have videos of my brother running around the house, and he's around 2 years old. We were 4 years apart,
Okay.
so between 5 to 6. Yeah.
Wow. And like you were just like found reading CDs, I guess.
Yeah. The reading part came later, but like the
Right.
listening part was quite early.
Wow. So when was the point where you started playing the piano?
I was put in these like playgroup classes
Okay.
when I was around 5.
So around the time this like musical discovery
Yes.
stuff was happening.
Yeah, so like I was put in a playgroup class, and like we would take turns coming up to the piano to play, but I wouldn't remember anything.
Right.
But when I first started my like actual piano lessons, like one-on-one, like serious piano lessons, that was when I was 8 years old.
Right.
I remember a week after my birthday.
And I guess that's relatively like, I mean, I'm not a pianist or anything like that, but sometimes like relatively late as
Yes.
starting lessons.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I remember that I have many friends in like even earlier than elementary school, like kindergarten. They would be playing in like the talent show, and they're like 4 years old.
Right.
Yeah, 4 years old, like coming up to play, and then I didn't know how to play, and then I didn't start lessons until grade 2, so
Okay.
that is like late.
Yeah, you're like an old lady already. No, but so was that from the point you started lessons, were you just already like into piano, or was it still like a thing that you were put into kind of?
Oh, I was forced to take piano,
Right.
so I chose violin first.
Right. 'Cause you
Yeah.
play the violin too.
I chose the violin. My mom asked me what instrument I want to learn. I was like violin, and
Was
then
that the first instrument you started playing? No. It was,
I started together.
okay.
So she was like, if you're not taking piano lessons, I won't let you take violin lessons either.
Huh.
So I was like,
So
okay,
it's either
fine.
it's
I'll
either
take,
all or nothing.
yeah. So I was like, okay,
Interesting.
fine. I'll take both.
That's actually really funny. That was kind of the opposite of the interview I did earlier today with Marcus Chen.
Oh.
He was like, he didn't want to do piano, so his mom was like, do double bass instead. So that's
Oh.
very funny how that's take it all or none. That's
Wow.
very interesting. But yeah, so you were just forced into playing. But when was the turning point when you were just kind of like interested in piano or just music in general?
I think I've always been interested in music.
Okay.
But then piano itself, it took a few weeks where I actually kind of learned how to, read music, and also like found ways to learn music on my own. And then like when you actually feel that you succeeded in learning a piece, like when I actually like found a piece that I liked, and then it's like some really easy excerpt in like the pedagogy book for like children, right? Like it's a few weeks in, like maybe the second month in, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I can play this 1 page long thing. And I was like, oh, it sounds good too, and then I love it, and then that I think that kept me going.
Right.
Yeah.
So from then up until say like the end of your high school, you were still playing violin and piano.
Yes. I think the big change / obstacle in the middle of that journey was I moved from Hong Kong to Edmonton.
How old were you?
I was 13.
Oh wow.
So that was grade 7 to grade 8. I finished grade 7 in Hong Kong. And
Okay.
then grade 8 I did in Edmonton.
Wow.
For a whole year,
Did you move there for like family business kind of thing?
my family has planned it for a long time.
Okay.
We didn't even have an acoustic piano to begin with when we first moved here.
Okay.
We had an electric keyboard that's
Right.
left over from my cousin's place. And for a whole year, I didn't have any music lessons, like on my own, like private lessons.
Right.
And then I thought I was just gonna quit.
Right.
Yeah, for a whole year when I was 14, I thought I was gonna quit music. But I would still learn things on my own just because like I want to keep it up, and I still like playing the piano.
Right.
And then my family couldn't afford piano lessons either at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then the year after, we started getting more stable income,
Mm-hmm.
and then we got an acoustic piano finally during Boxing Day. I remember that it was like $7,000. So yeah, we got an upright Yamaha. It's quite good actually. I still like that piano.
It's still home. It's still
Yeah,
over there.
I love that piano.
Nice.
And then we found a piano teacher in the neighborhood that's like next to us. So like she's close by, and then we can afford lessons.
Right.
So I started taking piano and violin lessons again.
Okay. So it's kind of jumping from here though, but when was the point when you started composing?
Composing.
Could you nail that down to like a certain moment?
Yes. So the first piece I wrote was for band actually, and it was performed in my high school when I was 18.
Did you play? So grade 12.
Yes.
Wow. Did
so,
you play in band?
Yeah. So I played in band ever since I moved to Edmonton.
What did you play?
I played clarinet, bass clarinet, and then by the time I went to high school, I switched to trombone for 2 years.
Interesting.
And then I played French horn.
Wow. Dang, what the hell? I kind of find that with like a bunch of composers, they just play a bunch of instruments, you know. But like, it's also interesting with you because like you're a double major, performance and composition, which I will get to, because that is a beast of a topic of its own. But like most composers I know here are also like wild multi-instrumentalists. So is that kind of how, with that knowledge of clarinet, bass clarinet, and all that, like, but did that kind of like feed your knowledge to be able to create that piece, that first piece you made?
Yes, absolutely. But I never really wanted to compose until I went to high school.
Okay.
And what made me start to think about composing was I had a really, really encouraging high school band teacher.
Right.
And he told all of us that if any of us wrote a piece, then we will play it.
Nice.
And then I thought that was like the most magical thing I've ever heard.
Right. Was his attitude also like, even if it's bad, we'll play it? Or like,
he didn't say it's bad. He just said like, if any of you wrote anything, we'll play it.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So like I have seen like seniors when I was back in like junior high school, we would like go on a field trip to the high school, right? Mm-hmm. So like, because it's in the neighborhood. Right. So we like visit the high school. And then at that trip, I saw one of the seniors at the high school, like in grade 12, Sean. What was his last name? Anyways, I remember his name. We came to know each other afterwards. Really? But Sean wrote a piece for band, and they were playing it for us, for like all the junior high schools that were visiting us.
Right.
And I saw that, and I was like, that is amazing. And then a few years later, like another friend of mine, Jason, he wrote a piece for our band, and then we also played that.
Okay.
And I was like, well, I mean, I'm only here for another year, so might as well write something. And
take that opportunity.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was the first attempt.
Dang.
And I conducted the premiere as well.
Oh, wow. So you didn't even play in it?
I did play in it, but every part I know how playable it is.
Right. So you just, that's awesome, man. That's actually so cool. So by that point, did you already know, like, yeah, I'm going to go to university for music?
No.
No.
It was until literally like very close to the deadline.
Right.
I actually applied to University of Alberta first.
For music or?
No, for like science.
Oh, right.
I got into the honors program in immunology first.
Wow.
I was gonna go to med school.
And what made you want to do music instead?
I think so I'm a very faith-driven person. I go to church. Right. And I prayed about my future, and I was like, I think from the people around me, they obviously gave me advice and everything, and from prayer as well. I just think that I'm called to do music because I do enjoy music a lot.
Right.
And also, like, I'm young, so might as well try something I've never really thought about before.
And do you feel like it's treating you really well since
Yeah,
then?
yeah. I think this is a great choice. Like, honestly, like, also when I was contemplating about music, I also thought that if I'm going to med school, I have to be in school for like 10 years to get the license or something like that. I don't
Yeah.
know. And then you need to do like practicum and
Just a bunch of stuff.
yeah, all of that. And I'm not even like that interested in science.
Right.
So
It was just like a thing to apply for because you got good grades and that stuff.
exactly.
Right.
Like it's like I'm good at studying. Right? But yeah, music is kind of it's like you only live once, that kind of thing. Yeah. I
Right.
didn't even know if I would get in.
Did you apply for performance first year?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So I applied to U of T and UBC
Right.
for my undergrad, but U of T was my first choice.
Okay.
I got in, so here I am.
Who did you work with, Lydia? No.
No, I studied with Jamie
Oh.
Parker.
Right.
Yeah.
And how was it working with him? Was that all four years with him, right?
Yes, I did all 4 years with Jamie.
Right.
Jamie was awesome.
Have you been able to see him since you've been here?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yesterday I did an interview with him. For like
Nice.
2 hours.
That's awesome, dude.
We talked about a lot of stuff too. So
Nice.
so that has been like a nice, just kind of like big circle moment. Yeah, but Jamie has been very great. Like I think he encourages us to think more than just playing music. Oh,
Right. All right, so
we're
we had,
back.
we had a little break.
We're
but
back
that's
from
okay.
commercial.
Yes. So as a refresher for us, I know for people watching, it's just immediately talking about Jamie. But as a refresher for us, you saw Jamie and did an interview with him, and I bet that was great.
Yeah, so it was for another project that I'm involved in, but
Okay.
I got a chance to interview Jamie.
Nice.
So I was just talking about how he encouraged us to play more than focus more on just playing music and just thinking about like the things that we do on stage, the things we do in the practice room, like more than
Nice.
just that, but also thinking about how music connects us with our peers, or
Right.
like how music relates to our like relationships, and
Right.
also like different aspects of our lives as well. It like music exists as like a part of our life in general,
Right.
not like on its own.
Right.
So I really appreciated that.
So, back to your time here at U of T in the piano performance program. Wow, that's not a tongue twister, but it's just kind of like the weird alliteration there. But in the piano performance program, so how did you enjoy it, like, while doing your composition degree too? Like, when did that major come in?
So I wasn't gonna do a double major. I
Were you considering a
wasn't
minor or not even doing composition?
when I first came in here, this building. I wasn't even gonna do composition.
Right.
I took like the intro to composition course
Just guys.
because I
Yeah.
thought they're gonna teach me the composition 101.
Because you didn't have that. You
yeah.
just kind of wrote the piece.
Yeah, I just wrote it. I never did it. But yeah, I came in, did a course, and then at the end of the course, I forgot, was it Professor Kuzmenko or was it Rappaport who told us that we can apply to be in the minor, and then they were like, yeah, you have a big chance of getting in. So I was like, okay, we'll do the interview and see if I got into the minor.
Lots of interviews being mentioned in this one. Sorry.
I know.
Yeah.
A lot of interviews. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did that interview, got into the minor. So I was like, okay, I'm in the minor now. And then for a whole year in my second year undergrad, it was just with the minor. And then third year rolls around, and my prof encouraged me to try going for like a double major.
And
Bec-
how come?
Yeah,
How
so
was that?
there's only like a few courses that's different,
Okay.
like an extra few credits that I have to take,
Right.
and I've cramped my schedule so much for the first like 3 years
Jeez.
that I had room to actually do the extra courses to complete the double major.
Right.
And so I submitted everything and then tried for it again. So might as well try and do it, and I did it.
Right. Was it intimidating to go for that kind of major change?
It really was. It really was, because everybody originally in the composition program, like originally in my year, there were only 3 composition majors when I came in.
Okay.
And all of them have always been very interested in composition. So
Right.
in my mind, it's like, oh, all these people are, they have been investing their entire youth into writing music, and they have had lessons in the past
Right.
like few years. So I felt like I wasn't competent enough to like study the
Like
same
put your
thing, right?
like dip your toes into that.
Yeah,
water.
it felt like I wasn't like qualified to do it.
Right.
Well, but I did it anyways.
And how did it treat you? Did it give you a lot of like opportunity and stuff, or?
I was really stressed while I was doing the program
I
itself,
bet. Yeah.
because I had to do both the piano stuff and the composition stuff, right?
Right.
So I was really stressed. But coming out of it, though, I think people really look at me different when I told them that I have a composition major.
Instead of minor.
Yes.
Right.
So I think in that case, the commissions come a bit easier.
Right. Did you have to do like a recital? I know you did a recital for performance. Did you also have to do a recital for composition?
No, it
Is
was
that
just
that's just a
juries.
master's thing, right? Or I don't know how the
yeah.
composition stuff works. 'Cause I know Emanuele did that DMA recital for his for composition.
Yeah. So for undergrad, we don't have to do composition recitals.
Right.
It's just jury at the end of the year. For grad students, I believe they have multiple recitals that they have to do. Doctorate, for sure, they have like, I can't remember, but doctorate, for sure, they have recitals. Masters, I'm not too sure either. But each school is, of course, different. Like UBC does something different than U of T. So yeah, it depends.
Right. So after all that and like, doing all that crazy performing with piano and like composing, how would you describe yourself right now in like your point of your career?
I chose to go with performance
Right.
in grad school because I enjoy playing the most so far. I still enjoy playing the most over composing, because composing doesn't come as naturally to me as playing. I'm a very confident sight reader.
Right.
I love getting a new piece of music and then just like getting to the piano, trying things out, and then like learning the piece of music. I love that whole process. Performing, I get nervous, but I do love performing.
Right.
So I chose to focus on performance right now.
Right. But you're still composing.
Yeah, I got a few projects lined up. So I think I'm allocating less time to composing at the moment, but like
You're still putting time into it.
yeah, but in the future I think it might even out a bit more.
In the future, as in after your master's?
Yeah. So after my master's, I want to take a break
Right.
because it has been 6 years of school and I'm tired.
And there's not, yeah.
Yeah,
all,
I'll think about
all green lights,
Yeah. I'll think about what to do next.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good, though. I'm going to start wrapping this up, but do you have any... I want to ask you, like, what are your personal goals, musical goals, for the rest of this year?
So I applied to compete in the CMC, the Canadian Canada Music Competition.
Right.
It's a different thing from the Canadian Music Center.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I applied to do that, and that is in March. There are a couple of student composer new pieces coming up, so I need to do that as well.
So these like applications are mostly like composition based.
So these ones are these are performances.
Okay.
There are 2 pieces that I'm working on right now. They're both solo pieces. One is solo saxophone, and one is for solo piano.
Nice.
So these are the main things for now.
Do you usually premiere your pieces
My own
for
pieces
piano?
depends. I've only written one for solo
wow.
piano
Okay.
so far, and it's One of my friends is playing it in Italy
Oh wow.
soon.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's fun.
Nice. So yeah, I wish you the best for those festivals.
Yeah, thank you.
And you've been a great host, a great guest. Whoa. Whoa, a little Freudian slip. But you've been a great guest today. It was so awesome to have you on while you're here in Toronto for your brief time. Thank
So
you.
glad to be here.
Yeah, that's like so thankful to have you here. And yeah, Vivian Kwok, everyone. Another amazing episode of the EJB Talk Show. Go check out Vivian's stuff. Her Instagram will be linked below. Keep track of all her projects. She's a wonderful performer and wonderful composer. A huge fan of what she does, and definitely you guys should be too. And yeah, Vivian, everyone, thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.
Yay!